So we are here together, we gather because many of us have experienced something wonderful through a practice that we call Agile. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you some aspects of neurophysiology which impact our efforts at Agile and which also provide that metric that you're looking for. So let me dive right into that. So you all know you have decades of experience exchanging with partners in your organization. This isn't a map of your organization. This is kind of a universal map. You probably have internal customers. You probably have employees. You probably have vendors. You probably have strategic partners. We know that in an organization, like among all living things, it is the interaction of the parties where value is created. So I might want to do everything myself, but I can't. I have to work with suppliers and I have to work with internal customers and so forth. So I invite you to consider what I count on as a business anthropologist. Our brains evolved to keep us focused in that relational space that we don't talk about much and we don't know how to measure much, but that's what we're going to do in the next few minutes. I invite you to notice that all of these different sorts of relating to other people are very familiar to you. This is what your life and work are composed of, exchanging with other people. And your brain stores a great deal of information about exchanging with other people. Let me give you a way of accessing that. So I would like you to imagine that it is Sunday evening. You are preparing for your week. You open your calendar and you glance at the next day and you see 1400 hours. There is George on your calendar. Your brain will immediately tell you, oh boy, I get to meet with George tomorrow at 2:00. Or, I better go get more coffee. I have to meet with George. So I'm going to ask you to begin helping me and everyone here to put in the chat, what does it feel like to you when you see George? Oh boy, I get to meet with George. What is one word that describes your experience when you are looking forward to that calendar item? I call this a rich exchange, and I would like you to help me and everyone here by putting one word in the chat that describes how you feel when you're excited to meet with George. I'm going to do that myself as well. Okay. So, as you see from looking in the chat, everyone found it rather easy to describe that experience. I'm going to call that experience a rich exchange. And I'm going to ask you to notice again that you have lots of information about exchanging in a way that is rich for you and exchanging in a way that is not rich for you. And you can count on other people also recognizing that. Now I'm going to ask you to do the opposite, and I'm going to ask you, pardon me, to put in the chat how frustrating is it when someone isn't interested in your mindset and they have some other mindset. They don't want to hear about Agile. Let's have everyone share that experience. The one that Pia Maria mentioned as other people are stupid, unmotivated, not wanting to take responsibility. They're closed off. Okay, here we go. Everybody knows exactly what I'm talking about. Isn't this interesting? Great. Okay, now we're going to go a little deeper into your experience, a little deeper, and going to ask you to remember a time when another human being extended welcome to you, when another person actually made you feel welcome. I want you to reflect for just a moment what happened when that other person made you feel welcome. Valued, home, high energy, grateful, happy. Okay, so we know, we actually all know that when we extend welcome or we are welcomed, it drives our vitality. And as Pia Maria just explained to us, it will also drive ingenuity. It will take us to agility, which will take us back to welcoming, which will take us back to vitality, and so forth. So I'm going to suggest to you that you all know what makes interacting rich. You all already know that. You don't need to hear it from me. You don't need to train with me or anybody else to find out what makes interacting rich because you have decades of experience. So I'm going to suggest that, in fact, there is a metric. It is readily available to you. And this is the way I use the metric. So, very simple metric. I did this particular diagram on March 10th, 2020, the day before the pandemic was announced at the Business Agility Conference in New York City. And I was working on a real project in my own organization, and I made this little map. I was speaking at Women in Agile, you see up here in the right corner. So 50% of my exchanging that particular day was caught up with Women in Agile, and therefore far less with clients, with a strategic partner such as the Business Agility Institute, with my current practice community, with other students. Most of my day was taken up. There you see my evidence. And now we look to see, and which percent of those were rich that day. And here we are. You see that I scored this, that 75% of my exchanges with Women in Agile were rich, so and so forth and so on. 5% of my total exchanges were with my current practice community, but 95% of them are rich. You can see I was having a pretty good time that day. 95% rich, 100% rich, yet my score is only 54%. Even though I made up this metric, my score is only 54%. This means I could do much better generating rich exchanging. And there's a very good chance that you could also do much better generating rich exchanging. How would you do that? You would use all of the wisdom that you just saw pouring into the chat. You know what it is to welcome. You know what it is to be welcomed. You know what it is to be depleted by exchanging, such that you want to drink more coffee and eat more cookies and undoubtedly later drink more wine. So I invite you to increase your rich exchanging. We call that dignity looping. We call the practice that you see here of tracking organizational impact, we call that ecosystem IQ. However, you don't need to train with us at all because you already know all about rich exchanging.